A frequent question that comes up is it a 2-minute cylinder or a 4-minute cylinder? A 2-minute player or a 4-minute player? The machines that were marketed early on were really 2-minute players. And that was the state of the art from 1888 to about 1908. So all the cylinders you see from that era are all 2-minute cylinders. But after we got through the wax era and into the gold molded era, we had a harder material. We still were making 2-minute cylinders. But then Edison, around 1909, came up with a material that he felt could handle having smaller, narrower grooves and hold, since they were narrower, they could play for a longer period of time. So he came up with a black material called Amberol that he made records out of. And so this is the box for one of them. The material is black. It looks similar to like a regular black cylinder, but the grooves are much finer. And they weren't really great cylinders. They sounded pretty good, but they were kind of brittle because the material had to be so hard to have that really narrow stylus work in a very tight groove. So you need a different reproducer, and they were sort of prone to cracking and things like that. They lasted for a few years. Edison now had parts to adapt the 2-minute machine to a 4-minute machine, and he was also making 4-minute machines. So once that was sort of laid the groundwork for a 4-minute cylinder, he got the patent in 1912, as I mentioned in another video, from the company that was making celluloid cylinders. Once he licensed that, he was able to produce what we see a lot of, the blue Amberol cylinder, which is a celluloid outer cylinder with a plaster core inside. And these were really successful and made from about 1912 to 1929. The other companies that were making celluloid cylinders also got into the 4-minute market. Companies like Oxford, who were really using, again, Thomas Lambert's patents, were making cylinders, and they marketed them in 2-minute and 4-minute. Usually the 2-minute had a 2M, and the 4-minute all have 4M written on them. And so these are sort of sample boxes of the different styles you could find of cylinders of that era. I have one here that's really nice. It's an indestructible record, I believe. It's hard to tell because the cylinders all look very similar. Just the company names are a little bit different. But what's nice about this one, since it's a 4-minute cylinder, you're able to get enough music on it that it was possible to actually put 2 different 2-minute songs on it. So this one here, it's hard to see, but it's one song here, then a gap, and then another song. So this has 2 different songs on it. And I've got a couple of these. They're pretty hard to find, but it's a kind of a neat thing. Edison also used his cylinders, the blue Amberol material, to make larger cylinders. No, there wasn't a player for this. This was for the dictaphone, where you would use it in an office for recording letters, and then you give it to the secretary, and the secretary listens to it and types out the letter. This was used with that machine as practice. So it says here, Dictaphone Business Practice Course, record number 18. So it's a little bit longer, and it's kind of hard to find. This one here is another one, an Ediphone one, record number 4, and the idea is that this was 100 words per minute, and you could listen to this and practice typing up to 100 words per minute. So those are the celluloid cylinders and the 4-minute cylinders, and they lasted, as I said, up to 1929 for Edison, but really around 1912, things had changed, and within a few years, there weren't many other manufacturers making cylinders. It was really mostly Edison who kept this up for many years. The disc really had started to take over.